Well, 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 here we are again. This is the Chief, KGM1.com. To everybody out there, now I always say to you, I love you, America. You have to look at my opinions about things and what I say about things. You may not like what I say as I say every day, but you can take it to the bank. Today, we have a real person who actually helps people. And he's not a corporate entity, which in my mind is something great. His name is Jon Kaufman. He's a worldwide traveler, global hopper, I can call him. Down to earth, really concise about what he does and how he does. And he has a great love of people, and he services the open doors of the world, and he services poor people. This is a great change from most of the people we have. You know, when thoughts of a common man come to you, we do things for the common man. Mr. Kaufman, you want to introduce yourself?
Chief, it's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. It's an honor. Well, my name is Jon Kaufman. I own a marketing company in San Carlos, California, across the bay, across the pond. And we have about 18 people, and every day I serve companies like AT&T and PG&E and Logitech and all sorts of companies with different marketing ideas. But my true passion is water and getting water to the people that really need it.
Wow. I was having a conversation with you that opened doors to a lot of things and a lot of thoughts. First of all, if you think you can do something and you dream it in your heart, you can do it. Is that how you started?
Oh, absolutely. I was since water was always of an interest to me because and you're an engineer going way back, and you know that some of these things are not rocket science. They're very solvable. Some of the biggest, I like to say that some of the biggest issues we have on the planet can be solved with a little technology and a whole lot of soul. And water is no exception. So I was a fairly substantial donor to water.org and another NGO, and I just didn't like the way they were doing it at the time, which was basically sticking straws into the earth, creating wells and pumps.
Right. Which
would last 3 years, 4 years, and then they would burn.
And the well normally is contaminated.
Having a well is no guarantee that the water is pure and drinkable.
Right.
And typically, anywhere between 40 and 60%, and the last thing I heard was 60% of all wells and pumps in the world are inoperable for a variety of different reasons. The water table shifts, a cotter pin is missing in the Congo, or they don't have the tool to auger it out or whatever. And I felt, well, there's a different way that I wanted to go about this. And so I joined Rotary International about 5 years ago.
Big, nice organization.
Yeah.
They're really good people.
And I had a different concept, actually a different concept than Rotary had at the time, and different concept than most folks had, which was, I don't want to take water out of the aquifer. What I want to do is I want to purify the abundant supply of contaminated water that we already have on Earth. And it's all over the world. There's no shortage of contaminated water. There's just a shortage of the means in which to take that water, purify it, turn it into drinking water, and give it to the poorest on the planet. So that's the concept of H2OpenDoors.
I want to throw a real hard one at you here. Kathmandu. Something most people in some place in Nepal, most people have never heard of. And you ended up there.
Yeah, it's an interesting story, Chief. I just got back 2 weeks ago from Nepal. And we had intended to be there in September, a few months after the earthquake. Remember the earthquake in 2015? Yes. Devastating, yes. And there's still even signs of the destruction. And Nepal's an interesting country because it's both Buddhist and Hindu. It started, Siddhartha was born there, and he was the first Buddha. And Hinduism was only 50 years old before Buddhism started. So the country
how many
is a
thousands of years was that?
2,500 years. 2,500
years.
So it's before Christ.
Right.
My people, the Jews, look at all these religions as newfangled religions because we're, my people are from 50. I think this is the year 5600 or something like that.
Right. 5,000 years.
5,000 or more years. But, you know, it is a very old religion, Hinduism and Buddhism, and Nepal especially is the one country that I've been in where I've seen it blended. The two religions are completely blended, and it's a fascinating place. And I was explaining to you, you know, it's a namaste culture. You know, when people greet you on the street, anywhere, they take a beat. They take the time, they put their hands together in a prayer fashion, look at you in your eye and say namaste, and you say the same back, and you revel in that greeting with one another. And it's marvelous. I mean, if we had that kind of a culture, or we were able to take a beat when we greeted people here in the United States, what would that change in terms of our DNA?
You know, you just opened a can of worms. I'm going to tell you that. Because we here in this country are materialistic. And that kind of cancels out a whole lot. And we're also to the point where we're not engineering wise like you are. We're not thinking about the common things of life that pervade life and keep life going. You know, corporate America controls everything. And I want to say to you that finding a cheap source, and I'm going to say cheap, okay? Cheap source of water for people is astronomical. In this country, the aquifer is dying. It's drying up with global warming. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely. All over the world.
Oh, all over the world.
No, there's no doubt about it. You know, in Nepal, you know, that's where Everest is, of course. And you would imagine, oh, there's this beautiful, gorgeous water just trickling down all the hills to all the people. But in reality, in Kathmandu, which is 4,000 feet up, it's not that high. It's in the flats.
Right.
Closer to the India border. Nobody can turn on a faucet and get drinking water out of it. And we visited one of the hospitals there called Helping Hands Hospital, and they serve 100,000 patients every year. And as we were going through the rooms,
that's a lot of water.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah,
100,000 people. And we asked the CEO of the hospital, and I always ask this of everybody, what percentage of people are here because of water, either waterborne disease or issues surrounding water? And he said 75%, because what you have what you have to consider is that a lot of people, we saw 6 people in pre-op and 8 people in post-op, just when I visited there, that were there getting surgery to have kidney stones or gallstones removed. Well, the reason why you get kidney stones and gallstones is you're not drinking enough water.
Right.
And so this is cholesterol that crystallizes and forms, extremely painful. And
you want to explain that to people again? You want to do that one again?
Well, kidney stones, and we see this in Mexico a lot, especially with young people, where they drink Coca-Cola instead of water because Coca-Cola is cheaper than water in Mexico. They get kidney stones where you know, a perfectly healthy 15, 17-year-old kid is doubled over in pain because he's got kidney stones. And so what they have to do is surgically remove them.
Right.
And this is preventable if they drink enough water. So the poor that we notice, the poor has access to water because there's bottled water almost everywhere in the world, but they can't afford it.
Well, the poor here, it's a choice. Sodas sell more than water here.
Yeah.
You know, and here we are talking to somebody who's been around the world, who's done all these wonderful things, and who's going to do even more wonderful things about health. And he just passed on something to you out here in U.S. America. You know, get off the sodas. Kidney stones. Oh, we have a big problem with kidney stones here in this country.
Absolutely, it's precisely because, and any doctor will tell you this, that you're not flushing your system out with an adequate amount of just pure drinking water. That's what it takes.
Common sense.
Common sense, yeah.
Nothing magistical.
Nope. In Mexico, it's quite interesting because they're right across the border from us.
Right.
And last year, Mexico became the #1 per capita consumer of bottled water. Isn't that shocking?
Wow.
Guess what the United States is?
What?
Number 8. Because we have alternatives to bottled water.
Right.
Mexico has no alternatives to bottled water unless you're rich enough to be at a resort, you know, in Cancun, where, you know, there's purification within the resort. But most people, especially the rural poor, have no alternative to pure water except to buy it in bottled form.
I go to Zihuatanejo. every 2 years.
Right.
And I spent a week down there. And I noticed that the beer drinking down there is just huge.
Yeah.
And I was wondering what was going on with the people. Now I know.
Yeah, beer and
like
soda,
water.
it's dehydrating actually. And there's nothing like water. You have to have water. Here's another interesting thing in Mexico, and this I see tracked through a lot of different countries. The bottled water industry is such that 80% of all the bottled water is sold by 4 multinational companies.
Get out of here.
Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, Nestle, and Danone. They have 80% of the market.
Wow.
So now you take that and then you say, well, in reality, the poor are forced to buy a human right from 4 multinational companies in Mexico. So what H2OpenDoors is about is we believe there should be a big 5 and the poor should be the ones to profit. So what we do is we put in water bottling plants so that they can bottle their own water and sell it at 1/3 of the cost of the others. And then all of that profit goes back to their own social services. That's what H2OpenDoors is ultimately about.
So how many countries in this world have you been?
Been to 8 so far. We've done Mexico.
And you've taken your message to all these countries?
Yeah, and we've done 16 installations in the last 4 years. And
wow.
So we got a lot of work to do, but it's a powerful message, and it really requires that I spent about a year when I started this project vetting different technologies. And I know this is near and dear to your heart because you've been thinking about this kind of technology since the 60s and
right.
have some great ideas on your own. And it took me a long time, and I found a system that's made in Colorado. And that's what we use. It's solar and wind. This was important because it had to power itself off the grid because where we go, there's just no assurance of power. It had to be one that didn't require chemicals to clean the water. You know, it's not a chlorine system. A lot of people think, well, you just throw a chlorine tablet in there and then everything's good.
That's the fallacy.
Yeah, you can't drink that water.
Can't drink it.
So therefore, it had to be, in our case, it had to be membrane. And membranes, each one of these systems has 5 miles of membrane material, which takes out all the bacteria, all the viruses, all the cysts, protozoan cysts, and so on. And what comes through is pure, safe drinking water with the minerals intact. The essential minerals are still intact in the water. And that's what this does. But it does 5,000 gallons or 20,000 liters every single day from pretty much any water source that we can find.
And there is a lot of contaminated water throughout this world. Yeah,
everywhere you go. I mean, that was one of my issues with the NGO that I previously mentioned. You know, in their promotional material, they would say, you know, this year we put in 1,000 wells in Kenya, and then next year we're going to put 1,000 wells in Ghana, so send us money. And I complained to the board, and I said, what you should be saying is, last year we put 1,000 wells in Kenya, this year we're going to go back and fix the 40 to 60% that are broken. And their answer was, well, we won't get any fundraising that way.
Well, you know, I noticed that water in Marrakesh and Morocco is nasty. It's very nasty. Tastes bad.
Right.
People drink a lot there.
Oh yeah, yeah, they absolutely do.
Yeah.
We actually have a Morocco in the high Atlas Mountains of Morocco, a project with the San Carlos Rotary Club that we're going to be working on towards the summer of 2017. Precisely because of that issue.
The water stinks there.
It does. It's kind of sulfury smelling.
Sulfur, yeah.
And the high Atlas it has that issue too, but it's all fixable. All fixable.
So, where are you going next?
On August 6th, we're taking 18 kids, 18 people, I think 9 of them are college-age kids, back to Mexico. We're going to put in our 5th installation and our 2nd water bottling plant, and that'll be in Nayarit State, which is on the west coast with the indigenous agricultural folks. They live on about $10 a day.
Wow.
$10, yeah, their families live on $10 a day, and they're forced to buy bottled water, which takes up about 25% of their daily income. So we're putting
I wonder if anybody here can live off $10 a day.
No, I don't. This is a family living off of $10.
This is a family.
Yeah, in Mexico.
Wow.
So I love Mexico, especially these days, because what we're clearly doing is building bridges, not walls.
Well, I hope politically we keep on going where we're going. I hope, you know, I'm not getting political, but I hope that doors open up for you, you know, and you get to put more plants in. Yeah. I would like to see plants on every continent in the world. I would like to see that. That would be a dream, to see clean water, because one of the things is infections in the Philippines is hard, and they don't have clean water, a lot of the villages. And Jon Kaufman here, H2O, Open Doors, and World Traveler, I'm going to call him a travel hopper, you know, with a good idea. And we're going to just kind of take a break here in a little bit. And I want to tell you here, this is KGM1.com, this is the Chief, and we're here to give you the best of the bestest. And we're here to talk some common sense about things every day. And you're helping people. How many people have you helped before?
Oh, I don't even know. I mean, I suppose if you look at each system that we install can give 2 liters of fresh water to 10,000 people, and we've done 16. I don't know. Do the math.
Yeah, wow.
It's a lot.
We're here. We're going to take a break here, and we're going to be back in a minute, and we're going to talk about some more good stuff. Jon Kaufman, H2O Open Doors. And we're here with a person who is for poor people, the 99%, as we call them now. Somebody who has been around the world, all over the world. And we want you to think again about your dreams, because his dream is to help people with water problems. And believe it or not, we are talking about the aquifer here right in this country. With global warming, water is the new gold throughout the world. Am I right?
That's right. Everywhere you go.
Everywhere you go.
It's their #1 issue.
How in the living hell could that be?
Well, you know, in the U.S. we're very fortunate because we have something called the Clean Water Act.
Right.
When that was laid down and mandated, and we're the only country that has that. There is no mandate to bring safe drinking water to every single person. In Mexico, for instance, they chlorinate the water like it's swimming pool water that comes out of the pipes.
Wow.
And so you're drinking water that's still, it's dead bacteria, but you're still drinking water with dead bacteria.
Right.
And people just won't drink it, obviously. I mean, it's fine for washing and so on. But there is no mandate to bring safe, clean drinking water to every home like there is in the United States. We are so fortunate in this, you know, with the exception of something that goes crazy like in Flint, but we are so fortunate in this country. Well, that is not the case in almost every country that we go to. And so people ask, you know, why don't you do anything in our country? Well, we don't, because we have the Clean Water Act. There are billions of people living without that protection and have to think about everything they put in their body, live a shorter life, and have just hideous diseases because of water. They say, the WHO says that half the hospital beds in the world are filled with people with either waterborne diseases or water-related disease.
One of the biggest things about I have seen over my lifetime, and I've been traipsing, I'll say traipsing the world for 50 years, is amoebic dysentery.
Yes.
Biggest killer.
That's right.
Of mankind in the whole world.
That's right.
And water is the medium for it.
Absolutely.
Amoebic dysentery is, it kills babies, it kills old people, it's deadly. It's like putting poison in your body, and it's an excruciating and painful death.
Well, all of this, cholera, dysentery, typhoid, just simple E. coli outbreaks. The most vulnerable are those that are under 5 years of age.
Right.
And those that are over 65 years of age.
Right.
And one of the things that is shocking, and sometimes when you just say numbers and statistics, people just tune out. But I like to say that, you know, we have made progress. One of the measures of the UN Millennium Goals was to cut in half some of the issues, and in particular with water, it was the measure of how many children under the age of 5 die every day.
6 million children a year, from what I understand.
Yeah,
6 million.
Yes, it was 4,400 a day when in 2000 when the Millennium Goals first established, and then 15 years later, 2015, that was cut in half. That's the good news. So to 2,200. So that's the good news. It was cut in half. But the bad news is it's 2,200 children under the age of 5 because of water. And so what I like to do is I like to tell people, okay, forget the number. The number's even too big. Even 2,200 is too big. Imagine if today a jumbo jet crashed to the earth, and then tomorrow another jumbo jet crashed to the earth, and another one the next day. Now imagine if 11 jumbo jets every single day filled with children under the age of 5 crashed to the earth. Wow. There would be no other issue that we dealt with until we solved that. And that's what's happening every single day because of water, just because of water.
Well, you know, you said something about Ferguson. You look at the Adirondacks. You know what? I was 16, and my mom passed when I was like 8 or 9. I was turning 10, I think. And when I turned 16, my family situation, excellent father, you know, excellent. Couldn't. There's nothing I can say about my dad. But I took off hitchhiking at 16, the whole country, and one of the things I saw was stagnant water everywhere, and dysentery everywhere, and disease everywhere. Mm-hmm. This is the United States of America, 1959, 58, 59. Right. And it's still here today in a lot of big states. Right. Still. Right. Here it is, what, 50 years later? Right. 55 years later? Yeah. And we're still in the same thing. Ferguson, to me, was something that should not have happened. So, what if they would use one of your inventions as an augmenting station in Ferguson, and the rest of this country with lead piping in it? You mean Flint? Flint. Yeah. Different issue. Ferguson. No, Flint has the lead in the okay. Water. Flint, big F. Yeah. Okay. Now, but you know, what if they would use your invention, your company, as an augmenting station that's in hospitals in critical care when there's national emergencies, like tornadoes? Right. What would happen then? Well, we do respond to a lot of international disasters. You mentioned the Philippines earlier, and the super typhoon that happened in 2013. Right. We were there a couple of weeks after that, putting in 2 systems, and the Nepal. But John, wait a minute. 2 systems, and you got 1 million people. Right. So why didn't the government buy your systems? The governments are so impossibly corrupt in all these countries. I mean, these countries are extraordinarily poor because the rich in the country take all the money. There's no interest in helping the poor. In all the countries that we go to, we see just unbelievable, undeniable corruption, and so until that's, somebody else has to fix that. In the meantime, all I can do is just find out where the need is and try to fill it as best as I can. But hurricanes, tornadoes, and all this stuff just inundates the water system, you know. Right. I would like to see, me as a person, would like to see your system in every water plant system in this country as an augmenting system. I agree, absolutely. And it's so needed. Nepal was a response to their earthquake, but the man-made disaster of having our systems stuck on the India side of the border for 9 months, wow, with pharmaceuticals and 700 other containers filled with baby powder and all sorts of things. Mm-hmm. The man-made disasters that we cause amongst ourselves are much worse than what Mother Nature deals with us. What was it? What was the river in Virginia, someplace, West Virginia, someplace? What was the name of that big river that copper mine, coal mining and copper mining? I remember it, but I don't remember the name of it. You know, I was just trying to searching in my thought, where was that? Because they were saying the copper and the coal has just about destroyed the whole ecosystem in those areas. Right. And people are actually drinking carbon water, coal, contaminated water, and copper contaminated water, and the industrial burn off from the plants. That's right. You know,
And we're the cleanest country in the world when you compare, to other countries.
Yeah.
So this is all like that great jazz song compared to what,
Yeah.
It's all relative. And the places that we go to, Guatemala is a good example. There's a beautiful lake called Lake Atitlan in Guatemala, which is a crater lake. And when you look at it, it looks just like Lake Tahoe. I mean, it's really beautiful. It's a volcanic crater lake. And the problem is all the Mayans, there's 40,000 Mayans that live around it, and all of their
waste.
All their waste goes back into there, and then that's being pumped back up. So in that particular case, there was a hospital that Rotary had been working with for a long time doing eye surgeries. And this is why I do this in the context of Rotary. And the doctors at that hospital said, most of the people that come to our hospital are here because of water and so on. Is there anything that you could help us with that? So we actually installed one of these systems, they're called a SunSpring, on the roof of that hospital, and the water from the lake is pumped up into it, purified, and then it goes to 5 different roof tanks on that hospital and feeds all the clinic rooms and operating rooms. Previously to that, they were using bottled water to do surgery and wound cleansing. So this is the kind of, every installation that we do is for a different purpose.
You mean to say they were doing surgery in ORs, outside operating rooms, and they didn't have clean water?
They didn't have clean water in the piping.
Wow.
They just don't have access to it, so they use bottled water. And you see this in a lot of places in the developing world. Here
in this country, the Clean Water Act is good, but we need to do better, am I right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the human intervention is causing the problems. I mean, we just don't have leadership, and we don't have priority. Even though it's mandated to bring clean water to everybody's home, some people are suffering with that.
So, one of the things is health issues. Worldwide, medically, it's a big, big dollar entity, am I right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're looking at billions of dollars.
Billions of dollars that, it's not like these countries don't have it. I'll tell you an interesting hero, and his name is Oscar Arias from Costa Rica. And what President Arias did during his tenure, and it got him the Nobel Prize, is he disbanded his military.
I remember that.
They have no defense. Of course, there's the U.S. that will always take care of them, but so they had that particular luxury. But he uses all the money that he would be spending on military for 2 things: literacy and clean water. And if you've ever gone to Costa Rica, you can see that at play.
Well, one of the things is Cuba is a place where everybody just looks so far down on. But Cuba did pretty good.
Cuba's an interesting place too. We went there, I brought 40 people there in April, and we're going to go back next April. And the perception of Cuba, as you say, from, I grew up thinking that these are all people kind of like what I think of now as North Koreans, right? They're walking in the shadow of, dictator, and of course there's problems, and the Castro brothers aren't angels, but they are trying to slowly turn that culture into where there's privatized business. So the best meals that you can get are in the paladars. These are these private restaurants people are starting in their apartment buildings and homes, and that's where you get the best. But again, pure water is not available to them. And we went there in April. We did a site visit. There's a village of about 1,600 people we're going to put a system in for, but we can't get it through the bureaucracy of Cuba. It moves so slow to even donate a system, and these systems cost $25,000. So we go and we raise the money.
25,000.
Right.
That's the price of a cheap car in this country.
Exactly. Yeah, and it provides 10,000 people with 2 liters of water every single day. But
wow.
we're in this bureaucratic, black hole, just because it's not the priority. There's so many other priorities, and Cuba's just like most countries. Fresh, clean water is not the #1 priority.
Well, the Central Valley here, the water's totally contaminated. They have pools where they pump water from the farmers back in, and from agriculture back into as holding pools, and this, you know, it percolates down to the aquifer.
They're filled with chemicals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So that's why I say, you know what, you need to be floating on the sky or something like that and says, hey, I got something for you. You know, but really and truly, seriously speaking, we're looking at billions and billions of wasted dollars going throughout the world for health care for people who are sick because of bad water. And, you know, I think we're in a modern technology world, but again, you're saying that, you know, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. The same thing is happening here.
Absolutely.
Look down in the Mississippi Delta. You know, it's still horrible down there. You know, in Alabama, you know, all through there is horrible. But you know what? You are an angel in a world of convolution. Did I say that right?
That's a pretty good word, though. I'm going to write that down right now.
Oh, wow. I hope it's a good word.
We'll look it up. Google it.
Jon Kaufman, a hero of the poor, you know, Robin Hood. No, not Robin Hood. Somebody who is out there, you know, and I'm looking at his card. Wasn't that cool in Cuba, riding in all those old cars?
Oh, my God. I loved it. Have you been to Cuba?
I have. You know, I've never been to Cuba.
Come with us in April.
1962. I'll see.
Yeah.
1962, when they had, what's his name, Castro and Khrushchev was doing their little thing, you know, the Bay of Pigs. Yeah. I was on the ship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll tell you this quick little thing about Cuba, give you an idea. We did, at the end of our trip in Havana at Hotel Nacional, we did a networking of 80 Cuban entrepreneurs and 40 of us. So it was 120 people. Wow. All talking about different opportunities and so on. And one of the guys who lives in Cuba came through and is watching it. And it turns out he is Che Guevara's son. Wow. Who's my age. He's 61 years old. Right. And he commented that he had never in his entire life seen Americans and Cubans talking. Right. That's how old this stupid embargo is. It's 58 years old, I think. Stupid. And so he was very moved by this. And you know, Cuba doesn't have a Rotary Club. If we had a Rotary Club in Cuba, we could really do a lot. So we talked a lot about bringing Rotary back to Cuba. The Rotaries are very powerful. Very powerful. Very powerful. And most people don't even know who they are or what they represent, but they represent people. It's the original service organization developed here in the United States, but it's very powerful. There's over 1 million members and over 36,000 different Rotary clubs throughout the world. Wow. And that's why I did it within the context of Rotary, because wherever I'd want to go, there's going to be a partner Rotary club in that country that can help me after I leave. Wow. This is networking at its best. Yes. Networking, yes. Human networking on a human basis level. That's right. Wow. So, what would you say to me if I wanted to find out who the Rotaries are? Well, you go to Rotary.org and you can find a Rotary Club near you. Go to a breakfast meeting or a lunch meeting. Just learn about what they're doing. You know, one of the things that Rotary does is it concentrates on 6 areas of focus. Water is just one of them. So pretty much anything that you want to do, any mark you want to leave, any legacy that you want to develop, any problem that you want to solve, you go to a Rotary Club and you can plug into a power pack there that can help you get it done. 6,000 Rotaries. No, 35,000 Rotary clubs. 35,000. And there's over 1 million members in more countries than the UN has presence. So why isn't our government pushing Rotary clubs? Good. You ask these questions that are just like, yeah, why not? Makes me scratch my head. Oh, you know, I did my research on you. You know, Rotary does have a seat on the UN. It's one of the few organizations that isn't a country that actually has a seat on the UN. Well, like I said, you don't hear that much of Rotary clubs, and they're very powerful again, and you know, very integral in who we are, what we are, and where we're going in life. That's right. And where we've been. Oh, absolutely. And in a lot of these countries, it fills the gap where religion and government don't fill. So those that fall through the cracks, there's a Rotary Club there that's helping to pull them up.
How old are the Rotaries?
God, Rotary is, I think it's 110 years old.
Woo!
Yeah, it's been around a long time.
You know, the average American has no idea what it is.
I agree.
You know, I want to throw one at you off the cuff here. They were talking about Sharia law. They were asking people, should we have Sharia law in this country? 62% said yes, and didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that? You're going to get your butt beat by Sharia law. You know, you're gonna be, everything is gonna be done. But you know, not getting off target. Jon Kaufman, H2OpenDoors. You know, and again, find out what the Rotary clubs are all about. This is to everybody out there, and I want you to give me some feedback on this one here, because I want you to understand that we're here, and we're here to be for you, with you, of you, by you, and we're here to bring you people that are really good and out there to give you life. KGM1.com, the chief will love you. We have Jon here, Jon Kaufman, who is, again, is another person in this world that I am so glad that he came. And I hope that everybody out there passes the word on clean water. I hope that every single individual out there give us an idea of what they think of Jon Kaufman and this program today. And you want to tell people where you're on your way to, where you're going, and what you're going to be doing in the next couple of years if you have a schedule. And, you know, kind of put out there and let these people know that you're out there saving the world there, Jon. I was talking to Richard Nixon's old tape the other day. I talked to tapes. Oh, yeah, buddy, I remember you. And some of the things that was said about, you know, and Richard Nixon has some very, very good ideas about the infrastructure. Here is some people that, you know, out there that really not Richard, you know, old Tricky Dick as they call him. And here we are today looking at some of the things he said about infrastructure and what we need. And he was talking about water, believe it or not, when he was president. Remember that?
I think he may have been responsible for the Clean Water Act.
He was responsible. There you go.
Yeah.
Dang it, man! You're sharp.
I'm pretty sure he's the dude.
He was the father of that. You know, and one of the things is he lived in Southern California, where back then they knew that water was depleting. You know, Whittier, California, to be exact. And he was a visionary in a lot of ways. You know, politicians are politicians. We're not politicians, Jon.
No, never.
We're real people.
That's right.
Yeah, we have real blood, American blood in us, red blood, American blood.
We like to actually get things done.
Tell me something. Your plant is a godsend to a lot of people in this world. Give us an idea where you're on your way to.
Well, August 6th, we go to Mexico. About 18 of us are going to go to Mexico, put in a water bottling plant. Our second one there, our fifth installation, but our second water bottling plant. That's in Nayarit, which is on the Pacific side of Mexico. And then in February, we're going to go back to Nepal, and we're going to put a system. There's a brand new hospital being built with five operating rooms in it. We're going to put a Sunspring system on the roof of that hospital, and it'll be the only hospital in all of Kathmandu where you can turn on a faucet in any of the rooms in all 6 floors and get drinkable water. So this is going to be a big deal.
Wait a minute here. Wait a minute. Wait. Let's back up and talk about this. Say that again.
There are no hospitals in Nepal where you can go to any water fountain or any sink or any faucet in the building where that water is of a quality to which you can drink. It's all based on bottled water and gravity feed water and, you know, coming in from big vats. Trucks deliver it. This is the reality in most places in the world. And we're going to put a system in where we'll take the city water, but we'll clean it up and be able to deliver water to every single faucet on every floor of this brand new hospital being built.
Wow. I am amazed.
And that's February. And then April, which I'm hoping you'll join us, Chief, we're going to go back to Cuba, and hopefully our system will have gotten through all the bureaucracy, and we'll be putting it on the east side, kind of out near Guantanamo, actually, but not Guantanamo. We'll be putting in a Sunspring system to serve about 1,600 people in that community. And then we'll just enjoy the Buena Vista Social Club of Havana and the beautiful waterfalls and all that Cuba has to offer, which is just a tremendous amount. And we'll be going back to Cuba after that pretty much every year, doing more systems like that. Morocco, at this point in May of 2017, where we'll put a system in a village in the high Atlas Mountains of Morocco. And then we're working on different proposals for, there's one for Kenya, there's one for, another one for Guatemala, and another one for Haiti.
Since all of this costs money, we're going to throw a ringer in this whole interview, okay? Since all of this costs a lot of money, how would people, if they want to donate to you, how would they donate something to the entity that you're in to make human mankind and the lives of simple people better?
You know, probably the simplest way to stay up to date and donate if it so moves you is H2OpenDoors.org, www.h2opendoors.org, and there's a donate button there. But also it'll give you some updates on what's happening. And also our Facebook page is Facebook/H2OpenDoors. So you can stay up to date on what's going on. If you've got particular interest in a particular country that has a severe water need, we'd love to hear about it and see if we can't help with our Rotary partners that might be in that country.
The reason I ask you that is because the Hispanic community in this country is huge. 35 million people. 35 million people. If everybody from every family gave 50 cents, 50 centavos, amigos, porque y Carlos Guillermo, KGM.com. That's what I'm talking about. If everybody in this country from every family gave you 50 cents, 35 million people, you take that and do the math, you can do a lot for Mexico, am I right?
Oh, absolutely. Mexico is a country that's specifically so needed. And we're fortunate to have a partner down there, Vicente Fox, the former president of Mexico. When we bring students down there, and we like to bring students from the Bay Area to Mexico, which we'll be doing in August, Mr. Fox does a leadership academy for them, a private leadership academy at Central Fox, which is his presidential library and hacienda. And in so doing, his organization, he's the only former president of Mexico that still lives in Mexico.
Yeah.
He's the real deal. And he's got an organization called Vamos Mexico, which is about 30 charitable organizations there. And he's one of these guys that gets it. He's one of the rare leaders in the world that gets it.
The rest of them move out. They go to different. A lot of them are here in this country.
A lot of them steal a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then they leave. And but Mr. and Mrs. Fox stay there. They're still 90% of what they do is with their organization Vamos Mexico and helping the poor. And so we formed a very close bond about the issue of water there and over the last 3 or 4 years. And I'm very grateful for that.
So we're looking at a lot of stuff coming up. You got some very prolific pictures here on the internet. You're a very serious person. What made you grow up and do this? What did you do when you were a kid?
I watched. I was a brainwashed Dodgers fan. I grew up in Los Angeles. Yeah, I have to cop out.
Where in L.A.?
In West L.A. You know, near Miracle Mile.
Oh Lord.
Went to Fairfax High down there and went to USC for 6 months until I quit.
Oh, you're a normal guy then, huh?
Oh yeah, I'm a dropout, college dropout.
College dropout, normal guy. Here we go, and here we go with something coming into being is everybody who is not a college grad, but you still can have some good ideas. Look at this guy. I mean, I'm looking at this Rotary International thing here, and where are you at right here on this one here?
That's me next to. This is one of the Nepalese. He's actually, that's Narayan Shrestha, And he actually is a businessman that lives in Boulder, Colorado, but he was born in that little village of Candabar, and brought his whole family over to the U.S. and went into business, became very successful, and now he goes back there. He built that hospital that I walked through, and he also built a school that we installed, that picture is in front of. We installed at a school that he built. They have 700 children in that school. This guy, short in stature, but he is
powerful
giant
human being.
Above men. Yeah, he is an amazing man.
So, America, what does this say about us? You know, we can do it. And one of the things is getting back to things again. Here is one picture right there, and that is Jon Kaufman on Nepal again.
Yeah, that's a street corner shaman in Nepal. Again, it's Hinduism and Buddhism all mixed up together, and you find the culture so unique.
You know, we're fracturing this country religiously. God knows we are. And here's a small country like this who is making inroads. And tell me about the greeting again.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. So you greet each other, you put your hands together in prayer form, and you make eye contact. Such an unusual thing these days, right?
Yeah,
eye
it
contact.
is.
And taking a beat and appreciating each other's presence on the earth. Beautiful.
Well, I think that if of our people of color, I think if they did this to everybody, maybe we wouldn't have them fighting on Facebook. I had to put that in there. You know, I have to say that. I mean, as a people in this country, as a all people, U.S. You know what? One of the things I'm gonna go off the cuff here for a minute. One of the things that I realized now I was in Vietnam. They didn't care what color you were. They were just, you're an American, we're going to take you out. We come back to this country, we fracture ourselves. You know, here a man is Jon Carpenter. He has been all over the world. You know, and here is somebody well-rounded. So you start up in L.A., West L.A. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm an L.A. dude.
Yeah. Get out of here. College dropout.
Yeah, and I actually, Sandy Koufax is my childhood hero, and Don Drysdale and all these guys.
God.
And I would watch Koufax pitch against Juan Marichal, and Juan Marichal was always the enemy to me, you know. And then here I am now, living in San Francisco, worshiping at his statue.
Wow. High school. What high school did you go to?
Fairfax High, yeah.
For everybody out there at Fairfax High, and what year was that? We're going to put the year up.
Oh, that was like 1970. A long time. 1971, I think I graduated.
Everybody out there, we want to get behind this guy. If you want to donate to him again, and you're from the Fairfax, LA area, that's going into Wilshire Boulevard, you know, all down Wilshire, the Miracle Mile.
Yeah.
Give me your numbers again.
The website?
The website.
H2OpenDoors.org.
Wow. And to donate, just go there and hit the link and click on the link and you can do this. What did you think of Marrakesh?
I haven't been there yet. This is
you haven't been there
no,
yet?
We have a member of the San Carlos Rotary Club who did his Peace Corps volunteer work years and years ago. And as many people in the Peace Corps, they always want to go back and help however they can. And he recognizes that the biggest issue in the High Atlas Mountains of Morocco is water.
Right.
And so he got to know me, and so we're scheming to provide a solution for them.
Wow. Jon Kaufman, what a real human being. And again, if you're from the LA area and you're famous, I had to put that in there, and you're affluent, give him $1 million.
You know, we're laughing, but I'll tell you one thing that's unique about Rotary.
What's that?
100% of the dollars that are donated get used on the project.
Wow.
There is no paid staff. None of us are paid staff. None of us, we're all volunteers and we're all donors. So anybody that's donating, 100% of that money goes to the project.
That's the big thing. We're going to back out of here. This is the Chief. Love you, and we'll see you in the backside. Vaya con Dios. Hasta mañana, amigos. Porque amigo. Carlos quiero. Que Dios me deja.